And there we go. Happy Fund Day, everyone. Maybe we'll introduce ourselves very first. I'm Felix, your host of the session. I'm a community advisor in some funding rounds, very active in Project Catalyst since Fund 3, initiator and founder of several community projects, and always happy to help proposers and newcomers to find their way into Catalyst. And then we have Phil as well. Phil?
Yep. I'm Phil, co-host, founder of Cardano AIM, the Assembly of Inspired Masses. Also been here since Fund 3, participated as a CA since Fund 4, I think. Veteran community advisor, funded proposer and proposal mentor. So quite active in the community. I'm happy to help you, and a CA school teacher, I guess. So, yep, happy to answer any questions as they come up, and welcome to the session.
Before starting with community advisors, I think there's one really important thing to mention. Cardano is a DLT blockchain protocol, and the ecosystem is very, very inspired by the academic approach. And means as well for community advisors, some of you hear the sentence already, there's peer review. It's a very big sentence, especially when you go into the academic world. And I would everybody really recommend to very first check for themselves, do a little own research. What does peer review really mean? So peer review, very often when we go in the academic world, very often we have academic scientific papers, they're published. Somebody needs to check the quality of those papers, right? Now we have the peer review system, which means community members from the academic world are invited to review independently the provided documents, articles, and whatnot, and mostly make a quality check, right? And this is the very same what we try to do with the community advisors as well. We have a global, decentralized, anonymous network of community members which are able to evaluate, assess, and mostly do a quality check on the submitted proposals. Why? Because you become a little bit, let's say, a little bit gatekeepers somehow for the ecosystem, because we have a bunch of proposals. They apply for funds. For which funds? They apply for Cardano treasury funds, right? And we want to make sure that those funds are well invested. And the very first instance who is going to check them are you, the community advisors. So means you also have a little bit of responsibility really, and you should have the ambition as well, to step up as community member and to say, does this proposal seems feasible, impactful, and auditable? Should they receive fundings from our community? But first, to start off, the Catalyst School is an initiative which was, Phil, when did we start it? I think it was in Fund 4 already. On the very beginning, which is funny, it wasn't called the Catalyst School, it was called the CA School, because it had really a heavy focus only on community advisors and veteran community advisors, but then evolved over the time and also included other roles like supporting proposers and now adding challenge teams and whatnot to it.
And like many proposals, especially around the community space and Catalyst, it came from a need that was identified by the proposers. And that need was education, sessions like this to inform people. And the great thing about the whole Catalyst project is that it's permissionless. So we got together and created this school. And now it's funded, and so that people like yourself come here and learn about the CA process.
And as we saw, there are several workshops, and so if you want to not only participate as a community advisor, but also in other roles, and you're new to the ecosystem, Catalyst School is definitely a really nice place to catch up, go into workshops, because you will have veterans and experts who are really here to help you finding your place and your journey in Project Catalyst and the Cardano ecosystem. And the slides will be shared at the end of the session as well, so you can have access to them with all the provided links and everything. Okay,
So
When
do you want me to go through this section, I guess? Yeah.
go for it.
So there's a bit of a process at the moment, and it's always subject to change depending on the whims of the community and the current stewards who are IOG. But at the moment, we've got this processes of, and we're currently in this proposal phase. But there is this interesting phase that maybe people aren't aware of, which is called the insight sharing phase. This is an opportunity before the fund starts. So in Fund 9, there will be a new 1-week phase to do this, where we can actually participate as community and discuss and identify issues with the actual process before it starts. So I encourage people, if they're interested, to look for that stage as it comes in Fund 9 and look to participate and identify the needs of the system. So now we're currently in the proposal stage, which are these 3 sections. They've been slightly adjusted this fund. Usually there was 3 distinct submission, refinement, and finalizing. This fund, we're experimenting with a single proposal stage. So people can propose all the way through the 3 weeks. We'll see the results of this at the end of this fund, and it's an iterative process. So if they're successful, we'll continue. So after that finishes on the 17th, the next phase starts. And at this point, I'll just point out that if you are interested in being a CA, the registration process is currently open. So you'll go to cardano.ideascale.com, and a pop-up window, if you're registered, a pop-up window will show you, asking you if you do want to be an assessor in this fund. So if you do want to do that, I encourage you to do that. I believe it was mentioned it closes 17th the other day, but I think last fund we experimented with it being open the entire assessment period as well. So if you do miss it, that there is no deadline, so you can anytime during the process choose to be a CA, and you can register. But I'm assuming if you're here, you're probably more interested in finding out and maybe a bit more up to date and probably have gone and registered already or will do so soon. So then we enter this assessment stage by the CAs, and we'll go through that process shortly. After that, there's a short window where proposers have a right of reply, essentially. So they get to review your assessments and can flag them for issues that if they see that you've been in some way unfair to their proposal. It's kind of a process that was added some funds ago, because before that there was no right of reply. It was just the CA's assessment was it. So this then gives a feedback loop from the proposers back into the assessments. After that, the assessments, our assessments as CAs, are reviewed by a body of what we call veteran community advisors, or VCAs. And these VCAs actually check our assessments against the guidelines that are provided to see how well they are adhered, and they will either notify them as excellent, as in followed the guidelines well, good, as in understood and participated as intended, or filtered out, meaning that you've actively not followed the guidelines. And then after all that, that's the QA stage, which is the CA, the proposer review, and this VCA review. It goes to voting. So there's a voting stage. And yep, that's, do you want to go ahead, Felix?
Yep. So then the very first, what is a community advisor, right? Already, also before we move ahead, again, a short heads up. Everything what you will learn into this session might fit into the current funding round, but might be improved and adjusted already in the next funding rounds. Catalyst itself is designed as an iterative process, which improves and evolves over iterations by direct feedback from the community. So everything what you learn about Project Catalyst, prepare yourself, it will change from fund to fund. And we have to adapt and catch up each time with the changings as well. Okay, what is a community advisor? A CA in this regard? It's at very first a member of the Catalyst community who is expected to assess proposals, provide feedback, constructive feedback to proposals very often, and who aims to support the community voting phase by giving scores to each proposal. Then it's a permissionless environment. Everybody can sign up as a community advisor. The only thing you need is an Ideascale account. The link, I dropped it in the live chat here as well. Normally, I think you all have an Ideascale account already. And just like Phil mentioned, you can sign up as a community advisor now. And there you should provide a wallet address as well. It must be a Shelly, can't be, for example, a Binance or a CEX wallet or something. And to this wallet, you will directly receive your community advisor rewards as well. Then facts. Facts are always nice. All right. So all community advisors are anonymous, means nobody of us has the possibility to check if Phil actually is really a community advisor, like he says, or me. The only entity who is able to confirm this is IoT. So it's half true. It's anonymous to the community, but IoT, anyway, they really look on it and check, because there is a lot of cheat. As it is a permissionless environment, you can imagine for sure there are cheaters and whatnot. And yeah, it's rewarded by IoT anyway. Also, the scores, the CA scores cannot be seen by other community advisors during the assessment phase. And you're totally free to decide by yourself which proposals in which challenge you want to assess. There's only one rule. In Fund 5, it wasn't possible to be a community advisor and a proposer at the same time. This changed, and now community members are able to act as both, and even as more roles. You can be a challenge team member and a community advisor and a proposer. There's one single rule: you should not assess proposals in the same challenge where you act as a proposer as well. Means, for example, you are part of 2 proposals in 2 challenges, means those no-go for you to assess all the proposals in those challenges where you submit proposals as well. Simply to avoid already certain conflict of interest, that we have community advisors with a proposal and a challenge. They give themselves a 5-star rating and rate everything else. just don't. Like, we try to avoid it. That's the reason.
So what is Ideascale? If anyone is not aware, Ideascale is the iteration platform that IOG has chosen to start the project Catalyst on. So it's actually funded by IOG, not community at the moment. So that's something to keep in mind. And this is the platform that allows proposers to submit proposals. Us as community advisors to actually go in there and read and comment on and suggest changes, updates, clarity before the close. So that's also highly encouraged as CAs, and can be very helpful for your actual assessments, because you can pre-read proposals inside the system and engage with the proposers. So that's highly encouraged on the platform. It's also the current platform that you'll participate in when you're a CA. There are community-made tools that help the process of being a CA. That they will be in the links provided when you are invited to be a CA. But all your assessments at the moment are also done on the Cardano Ideascale platform. So if you do wish to be a CA, you will need to sign up and have an Ideascale account. Okay. So what are we actually doing as CAs? We're providing a feedback mechanism to the proposers. That's one part. And we're providing guidance to the voters. Because of the size of the project, it's very difficult for any one voter to necessarily go through all the proposals. Although they are welcome to do so, it's not feasible in most cases. So similar to, say, an Amazon or a eBay seller, we as CAs provide feedback through a star ranking system of the proposals that then gets seen by the voters. And what are we actually checking against? We're checking about 3 criteria. That's the impact on how much and how a project will benefit the Cardano ecosystem. The feasibility, that's how likely this project is to succeed, and how whether they're aware of the requirements and whether their timeframes, milestones are realistic, whether their budget is realistic. And then clarity or auditability, which used to just be called auditability, but got expanded a little bit in recent times. But basically that's to check to make sure that there is a way for the community to ensure that the funds have been spent in accordance with what the project proposed, and that there's a way to actually check it. That this is currently set out by often KPIs provided. So in each of those 3 areas, you'll be providing a 1 to 5 star. Obviously 1 being not so good and 5 stars being excellent. On top of that, you're required as a CA to provide a rationale. So it's not good enough just to give it a star and a quick 1-word answer to say good. It's about really ensuring that there's that your star rating has value offered to the community in the form of a rationale saying, why was this proposal good, bad, or not so good? And with that rationale, that's what the proposer will be reading during their a review of your assessment. And that's what the VCAs will be reading and making their choices of whether they agree with your assessment and whether the rationale makes sense.
And one thing here to add, to have a valid assessment, all of the 3 points, impact, feasibility, and auditability, have, like Phil said already, you have to set a star ranking from 1 to 5 and the rationale. And if you respond only to 2 points, for example, but you don't add a rationale to let you have a rationale to impact and feasibility, but you don't submit a rationale for auditability, your assessment is invalid. You have to provide the rationale to each of the 3 points in order to have a valid assessment. Also, another thing what you definitely should think about, there are a bunch of challenges, I think 21 in this funding round, with more than 1,000 proposals. Don't get lost. Check already where are your skills. Let's say, for example, me, I'm not a developer. So I don't go into, let's say, for example, the devs and integrations challenge or developer ecosystem challenge, where I have very strong, let's say, technical oriented proposals. As I see, I am not the expert in this. I don't even start to look at the proposals there as a community advisor. I make sure to select, very often the approach I take, I pick 2 challenges on which I know, okay, with those challenges I'm very familiar with. Yeah, I feel really nice, and I focus on the proposals there.
This seems to be the developing wisdom amongst the CAs, that pick a challenge and focus your attention in there. Part of the benefit of this is that you can actually start to get a feel of the other like the body of proposals in that challenge. So you can start to sort of mentally rank them in your own head about what's good and what would be of benefit compared to each other. It's not necessary to do this, obviously. As a CA in the past, I've just shot out random in the tool, there's actually a random button, and you can literally get just random proposals. And when you find one that's interesting, you can assess it. But it's probably not the way to success if you want to dig deep into the proposals. Yes, James.
Hi, yeah, and just on the, is there any way of seeing how many reviews have been done on any given proposal? Because obviously, with the lottery system, and I'd imagine that there's less people with the ability to review some of the more technical projects. So obviously, there'll be some sections that may get a lot more reviews than others. Is there a way to see how many proposals are done on each?
Absolutely. AIM, which is actually the organization that I founded, produced a community tool that's used widely by CAs that actually presents you the least assessed projects, should you wish that to be the case. So the link to that will be available. You can go there now. I'll share it shortly when Felix is chatting. I'll put it into the chat so you can see it for the past funds, and you can actually. I'll also put a link into the voter tool, which has previous CA's assessments in it, so you can go and actually explore what other people have said, what ratings they gave, and what rationales they gave. But yeah, there is a system. It's a community-made system. So it has its, it is a community-made system, but it is available. You can do that. Okay, I mean, that's sort of what we went over earlier. If you've had time to sort of look over that.
One big achievement, for example, where we see again, everything is changing. In previous funding rounds, normally a proposal had only to describe some main topics in the beginning, provide the stated problem, the provided solution, and the relevant experience. If you check how the proposals are structured now, it has a huge changement already, which makes it for the community advisors really easy to review proposals, as the proposer themselves have to write a proposal now in exactly those criteria which are shown here. Impact, feasibility, and clarity means, as a community advisor, you don't have to fish anymore in the proposal to find, shit, where's this part? Because sometimes it's not a topic, and in the end, somebody else don't put it anyway. And now the proposal structure really helps you as community advisors well to make it, let's say, more comfortable.
I'd also just like to add back to a point that Felix mentioned earlier about not assessing technical proposals. You can do that as well, because I feel that as a non-technical person, you do have an insight into technical projects, maybe not about the exact technical nature of it, but you could check the auditability, you could check the feasibility of it, and not necessarily understand the technical nature. So when you're writing an assessment, if you are doing that, just add that I'm not I'm not assessing the technical nature of this, I'm assessing this, this, and this. So it is free reign to you to operate and choose your own path on how to assess. And everyone will develop their own sort of model of how they wish to do that. And understand that you are free to assess in whatever way you choose, as long as you follow the guidelines that are released. Okay. In Fund 8, there's $640,000 to be distributed. I'll just read these out because it's probably just easier than. So assessments will be classified as excellent, good, or filtered out by veteran community advisors during the QA phase. Excellent assessments will be rewarded 3 times greater than the good assessments. Exact rewards cannot be determined in advance, but they are estimated $60 for a good assessment, $180 for an excellent assessment. Values may increase or decrease depending on the bonus, reward, or total number of assessments. If a proposal is approved by the community, the CA who has received the proposal will receive the bonus rewards, which are proportional to the budget of the proposal. So that makes there's a system called prediction markets, and that's kind of an implementation of a prediction market. I don't focus a lot on that, because I think there's value in assessing poor proposals as well, because they then get filtered out or filtered down to the bottom of the voting process. So it's still valuable, but definitely there's that little bonus. If you want to bonus hunt that, you could go look for great proposals and give them good assessments. So that's just another model of participation. Do you want to take this one, Felix, or you want me to keep going?
No, I can do
Okay. So this is about the VCA process. So it is about providing the feedback loop. I mean, we've kind of talked about this before. So it's about adding a layer to make sure that the process isn't just controlled by a small number of people. So by having this review layer over the top, ensuring the quality of the assessments, it helps the community.
Generally, you can really imagine this like the community advisors assess and review the proposals. The veteran community advisors assess and review the community advisors' assessments. Just, I think this makes it most logic for us.
Yeah. So a lot of this revolves around the guidelines. So I also like to make a point that they are guidelines. So they're guidelines to funding. So if you did want to participate in an unintended way, you're probably adding noise to the system, but there's no hard rule to say that you can't behave in a different way. Ideally, we're all operating as intended, because that's kind of what we're here for. That's going to add the most value. But it is an open system, so people can participate in unintended ways, but you won't be rewarded for it because you're not operating within the guidelines.
It's also, last point, to guidelines also as a community advisor. Let's say, for example, Putin writes a proposal, right? And I come as community advisor and say, hey, fucking Putin, I don't like this guy, your proposal is a piece of shit. Well, Putin can say now, oh, okay, that's your opinion, that's great, but it's not the objective valuation of the proposal, right? And there I would say, oh shit, yeah, you're right. Your job as a community advisor is not to judge the team or to say if you like them or not like them. Your job is really to provide an objective, neutral valuation of a proposal and the proposal only.
Okay, and that includes the team that's being presented. And on top of that, a proposal may not have the team in place. For instance, they might, as long as they can identify clearly who they need to find, that's also good enough in this process. So, you might identify that you need a marketer and a developer and an administrator, let's say, and explain why you need those people, but not necessarily have the members of the team ready. So there's been a lot of successful projects that have then gone on to build the team to implement. So keep that in mind, that some proposers will take that approach. This is some communication channels. The main discussion, general discussion, happens on the Telegram. There's a community advisors Telegram group. That's this one here. T.M Catalyst Community Advisors. That's a very active community. People discuss broader issues about Catalyst than just CA issues, because that's just the nature of the thing. There is also a new CA channel that's in Discord being developed. It's not fully public yet, but if you reach out and want to participate more in the actual developing of the CA rather than just being a CA, that's possible as well. So if you want to further your community engagement, there's definitely beyond just the reviewing of assessments and assessing of assessments. So you can keep that in mind. And then there's a school Discord as well, which you can contact the people who run the school or people like us that are teachers.
before we run in the second part, where it goes a little bit more in the technical details on the community advisors. Phil, I will share my screen for a second.
Yep,
because sometimes by going deep into details and everything, we sometimes forget, but how the fuck does a CA now assess the proposals? Where does this happen and all this stuff? And how this will look like is right now, when you go on Ideascale, well, I signed up already. If you didn't sign up, normally you see a big pop-up window directly where you can sign up as a community advisor. After March 17th, when the CA assessment starts, everything happens on Ideascale or via the CA tool. Best is to use the CA tool. But anyway, if you go on a challenge, again, make sure, because you have to assess the proposals each time in regard to its challenge. Thus, the proposal fits to its challenge when it comes to impact. So make sure to fully understand the challenge already in which you assess proposals. If you don't know about the challenge, then you can't assess the proposals in the challenge. Let's say, for example, we go into a really easy one, miscellaneous challenge, right? Miscellaneous challenge has a criteria which allows almost everybody to submit any idea. Therefore, we have this challenge. When you go in a later stage after March 17th on a proposal, for example, right now we can see, oh, okay, they submit their stuff. Let's go just on one. And in a later stage, when you go directly on a proposal and you scroll down, then here will be a fourth window, which means assessment. And when we click on this directly here, where we see now this part here, there will directly be 3 checkboxes: impact, feasibility, auditability, where you can give a really simple score rating and to directly put your rationale in a checkbox related to it as well. Once they are done, you simply say submit. You can move back to your assessments and edit them as well. Really important to mention. And therefore, it's really important to mention what I would recommend everybody: track the proposals which you assess. Set up a sheet or something, or even with the CA tool, it helps a lot as well, and track the proposals which you assessed. So in a later stage, when you see, oh shit, I made a mistake, it's always easy to refine your assessments, right? Go in it in a structured way. And everything happens here on Ideascale or with the voter, with the CA tool then. The rewards are directly distributed to you after the voting phase. Means when voting happens and we have the approval for which proposals got voted and funded, then IoT directly sends out the CA rewards to the address which you provided in your community advisor sign-up. So you don't have to do anything in this regard neither.
There's a couple of questions in the chat. Oki says, if at any point you find a conflict of interest or are compelled to become a contributor to a project, can you withdraw your assessment? Or for call, can you flag document your conflict? You could go through and delete your assessment, I believe. And yeah, I guess it only applies if you've started to CA inside a challenge that you then become a proposer in. So if you're considering that, maybe just don't start assessing in that challenge. We've also got the question that says, I see some withdrawal proposals and empty TBA proposals. Yes, there's still a week to fill out that information. The withdrawn will be filtered out. It is a manual process that is undertaken by IOG. And the TBAs will basically, if they're there when you assess, then that obviously they probably won't be filtered out, but it makes a very easy assessment, I think, if people leave those fields as TBAs.
And to Mike, for example, when I share my screen again for a second, when I go, for example, on, for example, I very often use the voter tool. It's really nice. It's not updated yet, will be updated soon. by IAM. If you want to have a look already on how proposals look like, simply go on a challenge. For example, say depths and integrations. Here you have all the proposals already. You directly see the reviews already, which are the rating, which is given already. And when you go on the proposal, you directly see the assessments as well and how they are rated. For example, this is the assessment. This is how it looks like. You give a star rating, you give your rationale to it. Then the veteran community advisors come and say, is this assessment invalid, good, or excellent? This one we see, for example, a group of 19 veteran community advisors rated this proposal, this assessment as good. You have to fish a little bit, Phil, do we have something somewhere, a place where we can find excellent assessments?
No, but it is a feature that we have identified that there's a need for. So we'll look to add it at some point.
Ah, look, this one, for example, is excellent one. This one was rated as excellent by a group of 17 veteran community advisors. And there you see already what I would recommend to everybody as well. As community advisor, you have two jobs. One job is in regard to the voters, because your ranking, this is the ranking which we see when voting starts as well, right? So the overall ranking. When I see, for example, wow, this has an almost full star rating, then it's very often very likely that those proposals get voted and funded as well, right? Because the voters, they see, oh, cool, this is a 5-star proposal. It seems to be really nice. I vote for it, right? So you help the voters already. On the other part, you help the proposals as well. Means you can provide, and this is definitely recommended, when you see proposals and you see, wait, the intention is great, the team is great, but they struggle to formalize the idea, give a constructive feedback. It's already, hey, seems weird, good, but for future proposals, you should consider to just a short point. So you satisfy two groups, the voters and the proposers, and very often we see this kind of excellent assessments, what we have in the community then.
We've got a few more questions as well. Mohammed's asking specifically about whether proposals have a way of presenting. There are actually ways proposals can present. There's a project called Ideasfest, actually developed part by Felix. That's a place to present. There's also a place sometimes in after town halls, which I run sometimes, where people can kind of have a mini presentation session, but it's by no means, and they're recorded. And if the proposal is still open, you can attach media links and YouTube videos to proposals, but that's not expected. What is in the proposal should be checked by you, and if there's documents and things that are additional, proposals can do that, and that's expected to be part of the assessment. And in the past, some proposals have added pages and pages and pages of documentation, which obviously slows down the process, and in my opinion, isn't such a good proposal, because they don't respect the time of the voters and the CAs. But that's questionable depending on which position you take on that. But yeah, it's not required to add any additional particular information to a proposal. There's a question about how does someone advance from a CA to a VCA? That's currently in progression to change from this fund. In the past, it was successfully participated as a CA, which meant that you were eligible to funding. But because of the lottery system, not everyone got funded. But if you were eligible to get funding but missed out because of the lottery, then you had the potential to become a VCA. But it's getting a bit more complex this time, where basically you've had to have participated in more than one successful CA fund. It's a bit more complicated than that, and the exact details I don't think have been released yet. So keep an eye out for them if you're interested in becoming a VCA. But it basically means that you need to participate in more than one fund. Okay, thanks. Stu has to go. Are the Telegram and Discord the only sanctioned areas together? There is no such thing as a sanctioned area. It is a permissionless system. These are all community. I think the Telegram is actually operated by OG, but the Discord is a community initiative. So you can participate in any avenue you wish. You can even start up your own Twitter space if that's what you're interested in. There are some CAs that do participate in Twitter spaces, but the space is open to participation however you wish. Okay. I just wanted to quickly show you the CA tool. So I'll crack that open. So this is the CA tool. So you can get to it through Cardano Catalyst. That's with a ST at the end, so .st. And then CA tool. And this was started because the work used to be done on spreadsheets. Well, actually only in Ideascale, and then when there wasn't enough CA participation, it was released in a spreadsheet, and that just got messy in the fund that was did. So we actually started this project. It starts off with just suggesting a proposal and gives you a random proposal, but you can then go in here and add a specific challenge if you want, or a specific group of challenges, and get rid of them. So this information is currently set up for Fund 7. And the idea of this is that this is what you're asking earlier, James. So this will actually start when you say suggest another one with the next lowest assessment number. So it shows the lowest to the highest. So if we keep going, it should drop down. I know it went to 7.
And one point important to mention there is we aim for as many reviews per proposal as possible. But well, as we don't have a huge amount of community advisors, there's a minimum of 3 assessments per proposal to make the proposal votable.
Yes. I think we aimed for 5 even last fund, but I can't quite remember if that was an official aim or just happened to be. But yeah, so this then gives you the basic information. It'll probably be updated to the new data. Some of these have just slightly changed. And then you can click here to go do the assessment, or you can actually create an assessment here. It does give you a warning here because currently we can't feed the data from here into Ideascale. Just it's a technical issue. Although that would be great if we could do that, and we would love to do that. But then it actually gives you the opportunity to go here and start doing your ranking. And then it has a copy button that you have to then copy and paste. But at least using this, it actually can track, and you can go up to here and you can track your assessments inside this software, inside the platform, which if you're not using this, highly encourage you start your own spreadsheet with links out to where your proposals are, because they can be difficult to find again in the future when you want to adjust them or check where they're up to. So just remember this tool is available. It will be mentioned in the emails that get sent out. And that's there for that.
How is like the rating, which is like the feedback for the proposals and the voting related, right? Like, so it could be that suppose 10 CAs find a proposal to be 5 rating. At the same time, I'm not sure, like voting, can it happen that there is like a proposal which is less, which has like less relevance feedback, but that gets voted?
Yeah, it does happen. But there's no necessarily connection between these two things. So as you can see here, this was a funded proposal with 8 reviews. This was an unfunded proposal with 3 reviews. This was an unfunded with 11 reviews. And this was quite a well assessed proposal. So it's just a matter of the voters don't necessarily abide by this information. So
Okay, and the votes are like the one which shows 347 or 231.
these ones here.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so this was the number of wallets that voted. This was the total ADA voted in the positive. This was the total ADA that voted in the negative. And then this was the result. So
in Catalyst, you can vote for and against projects. And when you calculate it together, let's say amount of upvotes versus amount of downvotes, this then decides the ranking of the proposals in a challenge. And then, for example, then it comes to the fund distribution. There's a simple algorithm, and simply the proposal which has the highest rank by upvotes versus downvotes, they receive the first funds. And for sure, once they receive the funds, there's a pot smaller left for the other projects. And if their budget is too high, for example, they wouldn't fit into anymore. Let's say, for example, there are 3 proposals, extremely high ranked from the upvotes versus downvotes in a challenge which says, let's say, for example, 1 million, and each of the proposals asked for 250,000, and the 4th proposal asked for 300,000. Well, there is a gap of 50,000, so you don't receive anything anymore. But this is nothing what has to do with the community advisors. That's the whole voting process.
I can quickly show this. This is actually the Fund 6 results. And you can see how the initial ones get funded, and there was $1 million to start with, and the available budget goes down. Then this project actually got voted positively. The result, yes. But they asked for 115,000, but only 28,000 was left at that point. So they were skipped, as were the next 2. And the next project that got voted in with a budget that fit the available budget was this project here. So all these over budgets could have got funded, but they asked for too much money and were not popular enough. So it's a quite elegant system that IOG did research how to implement best, so that basically what this means, and I give this advice to proposers, you need to think about your budget carefully, because you can be successfully voted, you can be highly ranked by the CA community, but fail to get funding because your budget was too much compared to the available budget at the time after the rankings had been done.
And that's something then what you can definitely address as a community advisor in your review. When you see a really great project, but let's say, for example, there's a challenge with 1 million and they ask for 750,000, right? Maybe they need the resources, and it's what definitely is required to kick off the project, but they ask for almost for a third of the whole budget, right? So it makes very likely that they won't receive the funds. And you as a community advisor can come now as well and say, hey, great proposal, but your budget is overestimated for this challenge. Split your proposal into 2 funding rounds, ask for the half of the budget. It will increase your likelihood of getting voted and funded. This is something where you definitely can act as well as community advisor. Where I take care, for example, sometimes in some funding rounds, we have projects which apply for the total budget of a challenge. Means they don't allow any competition, right? And in Catalyst, we try to find as many effective solutions as possible, not only one. So when I see a proposal which asks for the total budget of a challenge, I'm very concerned already, a little bit. Say, okay, it's great, but maybe you could take another approach and say, what do you really need now in this 3 months to kick off? Do you really need the 750,000? Very likely not. The 750,000 in your roadmap, I can see they are calculated for a whole year. So why do you not ask this funding round for 100,000, next funding round again for 100,000, and the funding round later again for 100,000, something like this, for example, right?
There's a few more questions here. I'm not sure what you mean by re-review a proposal if you found a reason. You can go back and edit it until during the week. Once it's closed, there's no way to edit it. If I'm not sure if that answers your question, but that's how the system works. So the raffle or lottery system operates that there's a number of rewards that will be given to good assessments and a number of rewards that will be given to excellent assessments. And again, this then means that if there's too many CAs assessing one project, let's say there's 20 assessments, there's only 5 or 10, I don't know the exact number, but there's only 10 rewards, let's say, available. So the lottery will then operate over the top of those assessments and get paid out based on a lottery. That's the system as it stands at the moment. I hope that explains that question. Okay. So there's another part to the slides. Yes. Do you have the slides there, Felix? I've misplaced mine somewhere.
Yes.
Do you want to share them?
And just a last question from Roki. Are project formally incrementally funded, or do they get a segment of funding and will have to reapply competitively for further funding to continue work? Was this response already, Phil? No, I don't think so.
No, I didn't do that. I think the answer is it's up to the proposal. So both Felix and I have got have been funded over many funds. Those tools that I've shared earlier, they are made by myself and our team. And we apply for funds each fund to continue that process. And then we put that in the proposal. So we say we've been funded in the past. This is the usefulness of the project. If people wish to keep participating and keep supporting this existence, then do so. I hope that answers the question there.
And James, you have a hands up.
Yeah, just I don't know, how often do you get proposals that don't get enough reviews to actually get entered for the funding?
Oh, that's a beautiful story, guys. In the last funding round, we almost failed, passed through the voting process, because let's say, for example, all community advisor assessments are done. And in the last funding round, fortunately, some of our veteran community advisors discovered that there has been a botnet writing a shitload of assessments. And in the last funding round, we had the extremely shocking statistic that 42% of all community advisor assessments have been filtered out. Which means now, when all community advisor assessments are done, then you can say, oh, cool, there are a lot of projects, all of the proposals have minimum 7 reviews. But then you check them, you filter out, let's say, the bot, the AI written assessment, and then you end up with, oh shit, the half of the proposals don't have anymore the requested amount of needed assessments. What happened last funding round is the voting process get delayed a little bit, and to recall the veteran community advisors to assess all proposals where we see, hey, they have not enough assessments.
I'll just add that I don't believe it's a mechanism that if it's not reviewed sufficiently, that it's not eligible to be in the vote. There is no mechanism for that at this point, because that probably wouldn't be fair on the proposer, given that it's a system problem. Because a bad proposal should get reviewed as a bad proposal. So it's a manpower or a people power problem and a system problem that happens. So that mechanism doesn't exist, that there's a filtered out of the vote. But we do try through various systems and announcing regularly the statistics to try and make sure that we do at least get the three assessments, and 5 would be better, right? Because the more as we grow, we'll be able to get more and more assessments as the CA body increases. So that's kind of the idea.
And maybe one question is, like, for giving the feedback, we see that the least amount of the proposals which have least amount of feedback would be shown first. When the proposals go for voting, like what is the sequence in which it is shown to the voters?
That would be up to the voter, but there would be sort mechanisms, one of them including CA rating or community rating. So there's a voter app, there's an official voter app where all votes go through at the moment, both on Android and Apple. And that app allows people to vote and sort, and that's an ever evolving project as well. So the app has improved greatly over the iterations as well.
Mhm.
There was a question in the chat about the bots. I think that was covered. Shall we continue explaining a little bit more about actual assessments there, Felix? I think we've got the slides. There's a technical bit to the slides, yeah? Okay, someone asked about the reward scheme earlier, so we can probably look at this. So this was presented in a town hall for Fund 6, I guess. So
It was a separate meeting, but yeah, came out as an initiative from the very first Catalyst Circle. Also, another point, we have the Catalyst Circle. The Catalyst Circle is a representative body at the Human Sensor Array, representing the most important stakeholder groups within the community. And for sure, the community advisors are represented as well from a person. In this funding round, it's Nadia Hopkins. And her role is really also to improve the CA process together with you folks. So if you have doubts, questions, whatnot, jump on the Telegram, which is on the slide deck as well, and contact Nadia already. Her name is Nadia Hopkins. You will see her definitely around, and she's your representative as community advisor for the next 6 months. So, and this document was not this document. The reward scheme was mostly prepared from the IoT research team. They have a whole team also for the community advisors, all the stuff, working a lot in game theory and whatnot. And this was a reward scheme which was adjusted in Fund 6 and which really created a whole new reward scheme for Catalyst community advisors and veteran community advisors as well. All right. Do you want, Phil?
Yep, and I've just got the message that the bonus is not provided anymore.
Exactly.
For the like the I can't remember what I called it before.
Because
the
normally
prediction markets,
yes,
the prediction market component that I mentioned a few slides ago, about 10-15 minutes ago, has actually been removed this fund. Yeah, this bottom bit, if a proposal is approved by the community, that has been removed. Sorry that was in there.
The last point. As we know, things get adjusted all the time. So
yeah, it was never really that successful, I think. It didn't really add value. So
exactly.
Yeah, strict from the list.
So do you want to go with this one, Phil, or should I?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Then first, why there was a reward upgrade already? Well, first, to grow the community of community advisors and their sustainability, and keeping a core of qualified professionals with fair rewards as an integral part. One thing you should know in Catalyst, one of, let's say, Catalyst's hidden KPIs is how many full-time community members can we get on board in Project Catalyst. Means for the community advisors as well, as you can, we have some community advisors, they make 10,000, 20,000 US dollars in one funding round, simply by assessing, right? And we definitely really want to encourage and explore and establish a really body of community advisors who are not community advisor maybe for 1 or 2 funding rounds, who really see themselves acting like this as a full-time job and say, hey, I take this really serious. And if we want those people, for sure, we have to make sure that they are well rewarded as well, right? Then by this, for sure, we want to ensure that provided incentives for high quality reviews are given as well. That to provide comprehensive analysis for high budget proposals and to ensure that each proposal is reviewed and CA reviews are quality assured. So really coming back to what I meant, we are not really aiming for community advisors who maybe assess 1-2 proposals in this funding round, then maybe skipping a funding round, maybe doing 3-4 next funding round. It's great to start with, but we're really heading to is really a group of pretty damn strong community advisors who take the responsibility to see this really as a long-term trip and to make sure, hey, we can pay those people for this. Really important. Because some here, for example, Phil, when we remember in Fund 4, proposals or CA engagement or whatnot, it was ridiculously slow, the budget, because we doubled the budget each funding round, where we come from Fund 4 proposal. You couldn't even go in with a proposal with 40,000 or something like this, right? It was just far too big for the total funds with a whole funding round of 500,000 and those split it into 7 challenges. There's not a lot of resource to get right. The catalyst doubled up over the last year each time. Right now, from 1 to 2 million later, from 2 to 4 million, from 4 to 8 million. Now in Fund 7 we have 16 million, and next funding round we might have 32 million. Then sticking a little bit to it, but yeah. Then main changes from previous funds. Maybe this one is not even so important, but yeah. The number of assessment rewarded per proposal increased from 3 to 5, like was mentioned from Phil already. Assessments are going to be classified as excellent, good, and filtered out, which wasn't the case before. Then excellent assessments will receive 3 times more rewards than good ones. Also means we don't want community advisors who make 300, well, wishy-washy assessments. Try to avoid this. We really, again, aim for quality and for long-term quality. Means that excellent assessments are 3 times more rewarded. Good assessments means we're really fishing for quality. And yes, filtered out assessments will not receive any rewards and will not influence the final score. As they are filtered out, they will not impact the final score of the assessed proposal. One really important again to mention, I think, is the flagging phase, because once you as community advisors, you have done your assessments, and let's say, fortunately, we have a bunch of really great community members acting as community advisors, but unfortunately, we also have some dumbheads acting as community advisors, and they're doing really bad assessments. They really try to cheat and go against projects they don't like or whatnot. And the proposers have the possibility to flag the assessments. All assessments are visible after they are done. And the proposers can come now and say, I am not agree with this community advisor's assessment. He's not following the community advisor's guidelines, for example. And then the VCAs will come and they will decide who is in the right. And when you make an extremely bad assessment and the flagging of your assessment is stronger than your assessment itself, then there might be the likelihood that the veteran community advisors will filter out your assessment and you won't get any rewards for it. Keep this in mind. Then what's going on? Then each proposal reward budget fits. Okay.
That's the how many excellence there will be. So I mentioned before how many. I wonder if that will be updated. I might flag that maybe we can change it to more, but it'll depend. But basically, every proposal that makes it through the process is essentially assigned 2 excellent and 3 good assessments. So as a CA, if you're one of the 5 that get approved, as in not a filtered out assessment, and there's only 5, then you'll get funding in one of those 2. then because it gets complicated, that if then there's more excellence, then that goes to a lottery system. And if there's more goods, it goes to a lottery system. And this bonus is being removed.
And for the veteran community advisors, there might be changings also in the next funding rounds, because right now, some people ask me already, hey, Felix, where is it more lucrative to act as community advisor or veteran community advisor? Definitely as community advisor. Veteran community advisors, they earn almost nothing. From my perspective, it's against what the community advisor earns. For example, let's say 60 US dollars for good proposal assessment, 180 for excellent assessment. I feel, what does a veteran community advisor get for reviewing an assessment? I think it's cents, not even $1.
I think it's a little bit more than that, but it's 1% of the funds, I think, or 1% of the 1% of the 20%, or something like that. I can't remember exactly.
Yes,
but I think it was adjusted this fund to be a bit fairer.
exactly.
There's a question about how the actual system works. I can't remember what happens, Mike, in that scenario. If there's only 5 excellence and there's none others, I'm not sure what happens. I think the lottery goes to 2, and yeah, I couldn't tell you. I'd assumed, like you, that they'd go, 3 of them would be dropped to good, but I don't know. I don't know if anyone would know, actually. It probably hasn't come up.
Maybe the research team does.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was experimented for the first time last fund, or 2 funds ago now. 2 funds ago, yeah, fund 6. So it has been in place, so that there is probably but there's not enough rewards to spread around to everyone, I guess. Yeah. Okay, we can continue, I guess.
We covered this one. I think this one is very clear. Then simply definitions apply to catalyst voters and advisor participating, including community advisors and veteran community advisors, so that voters have a clear understanding about the criteria and scoring rubric. CAs are clear on what is expected of them for assessments, and VCAs are clear on what is expected of them reviewing CAs assessments. Then, okay, so let's have a look on the difference between good and excellent. Say, for example, excellent, where most or all is achieved. The community advisor has been able to define which assertions they are better qualified to make in the proposal about its fit to address the catalyst challenge, and which assertions are more intuitive or outside the advisor's domain of expertise. Then good. Either the community advisor has provided no clarity about which assertion made are based on their own domain expertise and which are more intuitive, or it is unclear how the community advisor has arrived at that judgment, if the assertions made are outside of the CA's domain expertise, or in the case that the CA's domain expertise remains unknown for the reader. Can be as well, the community advisor has provided a defendable justification to support the scoring. CA's justification for scoring clearly highlights specific content in the proposal that is being assessed, and the feedback gives confidence to the reader that the entire proposal was considered, and the score plus feedback provided was based on a sound analysis of all the information provided. Compared to good, the CA has made a reasonable attempt to justify the scoring against the challenge criteria. However, the feedback generally lacks specificity or clarity to support their rationale and scores.
I'll just quickly address the chat here. It is a bit complex. That there is an official system on how the rewards are done. I tend to suggest just focus on making quality assessments, and you will pick up rewards for doing it. it's very unlikely that if you do 10 quality assessments, you won't get any rewards for doing so.
Exactly.
So don't worry too deeply. The rewards fluctuate so much anyway because of how many people are participating and all sorts of various things that it's hard to calculate exactly what you're going to get. But every time I've participated as a CA, I've picked up rewards and it seemed in line with what I expected. So yeah, don't worry about it.
Same from my side. And also, as a first community advisor, have a step-by-step approach. Now in Fund 8, let's say, make your first experience. Don't aim on 50 assessments or 100 assessments, right? Make a first experience already. Have a look already. Oh, okay, does it fit? Maybe focus on 10, maximum 20 assessments, something like this. It's a really comfortable size. And take it as your first experience. Once your experience is done, this funding round, next funding round, you will start already with this earned experience and you can aim or shoot for higher numbers for sure. But I would, in any case in Catalyst, I would recommend to everybody, take a step-by-step approach. We have each 3 months a new funding cycle. So count on this as well. Say, oh, okay, this I start slowly and next one I will prove. And in the third one, wow, there I'm going full beast mode, monster, doing everything, right? But step by step, it's an overwhelming community. It's an overwhelming journey, a bunch of stuff going on. Handle your expectation management to yourself already in a good way.
I'd also add in there that it is actually work being a CA. It takes energy and time to sit down, to read a proposal, to engage with that proposal, to use your critical thinking and your analysis, make a decision on whether it's 1 to 5, and then write a rationale on it. So it's not free money. It does take work. It takes time. On top of that, if you like 1 or 2 assessments is great. So just to get your toes wet, like Felix is saying, is fantastic. And every assessment helps the process along. So do what you can, work inside your abilities for time and commitment, as well as your knowledge about what you're choosing to assess. Know that you're helping the community. Know that you're probably going to get reasonable rewards for that. But also understand that it is a commitment and you are working to do something.
Exactly. And I think, yeah, I shared the slides already in the live chat. We'll share them again. I don't think we have to go through all the examples how excellent could compare to a good one. Take your time in the slides, go over it, have a look on already in the tools provided by AIM as well. Have some really good insights already. And then just to what we said, if I want to maximize my rewards, then just second what we said already. First, focus on few excellent assessments and focus on proposals with few assessments. And the bonus, again, forget about the bonus. It's filtered out, doesn't apply anymore. And for example, how it was in Fund 6. In Fund 6, we had a total score of 160,000 for the community advisors. Right now as well, how you can calculate it. Each funding round, we have a total budget. Means, for example, right now, 16 million. From the 16 million, 20% goes away. 20% are reserved for the value-adding roles in Project Catalyst. Means community advisor, veteran community advisors, referrers, and challenge teams. And voters,
yes.
And voters at the end, yes. The community advisors receive 4% of this 20%. Means from now you can calculate, okay, 60 million, 20%, from 16 million, 4% of those. This is what is allocated to the community advisors. So here I think we are already, we are in the millions already. So there's really a big budget. Exactly. Should we say something more about the slide?
No, I think the rewards are good.
Okay, and now, shit, now we go into the topic I don't like, all these details. And all this stuff. So you do this, I don't do this. I make a coffee.
Yeah. We need Victor here again.
Yeah.
He helped come up with this. This kind of just shows the breakdown between this was that case if you've only got excellent assessments. So they it splits it across them, so it can be more goods, more excellence. That I think there was a paper, or I don't even know if that actually ended up being released, but there was research done by the IOG team into this, and this was the visual representation of that paper. So it has an organized system behind it. If you're really interested, I think go and ask IOG for the paper, but I don't know if they ended up releasing it. But this is that visual representation. I did ask Danny just now if there is going to be a change between the 2 excellent and 3 good. No, that is going to stay this fund. So it is represented like this. So I guess that's suggesting to the community that we want 5 quality assessments minimum per proposal, right? Because there's 5 rewarded positions there. Although if there's no excellence, then you could have a stack more goods. Was this 9 goods there? Yeah. Any particular questions about this? I mean, we've kind of gone into rewards quite heavily, and I think it's pretty well understood, and there's a system in place. You want to go to the next slide, Felix? Yeah, this is the lottery system.
What do you want us to do?
Yeah, this is the lottery system, and it breaks down. Look, there's a great
there's a great game theory team behind, and they come up with beautiful stuff nobody really wants to understand. But for those who want to understand, there you go.
There it is. There it is. Victor did a great explanation of this, and I mean, I haven't seen it or thought of it since he presented it. So if you're really interested, you can go and find the Victor presentation from the town hall in Fund 6, which is what, 6 months ago now.
I will try to find a link.
Yeah. Okay.
Just 1 second, because.
But yeah, but basically those lottery tickets get assigned based on whether you were excellent or good, and how many people participated and that sort of thing. So please share the link. Yeah.
Looking for it. Give me
I think the link to the slides was already shared up a little bit. Yeah. I'm trying to find it. Right. While Felix look around, does anyone have any verbal questions that you'd like to ask? No, everyone's happy that there is a reward system. It's calculated somehow. Just shy. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Everyone's happy. What about actual CAing? Like, is everyone signed up? Anyone had problems with the signing up process? Anyone been a CA that's coming back again that just wanted to jump into the school, wants to say something about being a CA? Have you been a CA, Scott, before?
Yes, I was a CA in Fund 6 and 7.
There you go. Do you want to say something about your experience as a CA, or?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it is exactly like Phil and Felix are saying. It's a great experience, but it is a job, and with it being your first time, expect for it to take probably a long period of time, I guess, depending until you get to learn the format and what it is that you're looking for and how to read the proposals. But as time goes by, it will become easier as far as your own personal processes go and how you create your assessment. Other than that, I mean, yeah, I do exactly what was stated. I stay in my lane. I don't attempt to make assessments in areas that I'm not knowledgeable in. And that is certainly a reasonable and a responsible way to approach this. I think that's about all I have, Phil, unless there's some other questions you want me to touch on.
No, that's cool. Roki's asking about, did CAs stick together? Yeah, by all means, don't discuss assessments. That's not part of the CA process. But identifying problems and gaps in the system and working with others to make proposals, which is what a lot of us have done here. The school wouldn't exist, AIM wouldn't exist without various CAs working together to solve problems. So by all means, yeah, make friends, find proposals, discuss things afterwards, whatever you like, really. It's a nice environment to be involved with. Lots of us are kind of glued to Catalyst, really. Yeah, Scott.
Yeah, I do want to, yes, I do want to stress one thing, and it was touched on also by either Phil or Felix, but it was, be objective with these assessments. Try and leave your opinion out of it, even if you know the proposer or the team of proposers. It's not about them, it's about the content and their proposal. Explicitly about that. And I just want to bring that up because it seemed nobody could point a finger on it last fund, but it seemed like that happens a lot as well. So that's all I'd like to say in closing. Thank you.
And one thing, Konstantinos had a nice question, because there's something to mention. If we have signed up and participated in a previous fund as community advisor, you don't need to re-sign up somewhere, right? No, you have to re-sign up each funding round as a community advisor. Nice thing is you keep your ID as a community advisor. Each community advisor has an ID, which is called then, when you see it in the assessments later, assessor line 11, 3.8, whatnot. And this ID you keep if you keep your Ideascale account. But anyway, you have to re-sign up each funding round in order to act as community advisor.
So if we're looking at a good process, again, I'll just reiterate, we've said it a few times, look to the challenges and which ones you'd like to assess in. It's not necessary, but this is a winning formula that seems to have been developing. You can start spending time now pre-reading the assessments if you want to spend that time. By all means, again, not necessary, but you can do that. Look over the voter tool. There are other ways to find it, but I'd suggest the voter tool is the easiest way to find it, and read other people's assessments, both good, bad, and excellent, or good filtered out and excellent. So you can kind of get a feel of what that looks like and what the community is looking for in that context. And then finally, if you really want to participate, like at a heavier state, you need that time during the week after the 17th. So some people in the past have taken time off work to do this and all sorts of stuff. By all means, it's up to you. You're responsible for your own time. I'm talking about personally taking a week out, more or less, to sit down and do some really heavy duty CAing, which I've never done, actually. I've only ever just sort of participated, but this time I kind of am thinking I'll participate a bit heavier. So it's definitely, that would be a formula for success, I think. James, you got your hand up there. Thanks, Scott.
Oh yeah, it's just a quick one. I haven't actually, I was going to register after this session. Do you need a deadlist wallet, or am I okay with a Euro? Because I've only got a Euro wallet at the minute.
Yeah, that's fine. You just need the address. You just need a wallet address.
As far as a shell, it must be a shell. So if it is a whatnot, Daedalus, Nami, Euro, whatnot, doesn't change, but can't be a exchange wallet, for example, on Binance or whatnot.
Those wallet addresses start with the ADDR. That's a Shelley address. So if you share it, if you've got an ADDR address, you're good to go.
Brilliant. Cheers.
No
Rookie,
MetaMask.
no MetaMask.
Medium.
Sorry, really, really. But Rookie,
sorry, actually, there was one challenge recently, which was the Coty challenge. I can't remember the exact name. Catalyst community, something.
You mean the Coty one?
Yeah, and Coty did actually require a ERC20 address because it was being paid in Coty, and Coty is currently a ERC20 token. So in that case, yes, MetaMask was quite useful. Tegan, you got a question there?
Yeah. Probably it's outside of the scope of this discussion. I see that a whole lot of carrier is being built on this project and on this system, and it's already catered to English-speaking population. Is there a discussion, at least, on how to include the rest of the world to this? This is really huge.
Yes,
Sure.
very much. For example, with the Eastern Town Hall and the Vietnamese community, they onboarded a bunch of community advisors, for example, and they work really in local translations. It's mostly a community initiative, and they had several funded proposals as well for a 2-minute review from the Vietnamese community, and they are driving some very first pilots there. And we definitely focus on this, Tefera, very much, yes.
Yeah, there's been quite a lot of work, and if you're interested to put proposals in to do this work, by all means, sit on the other side and put proposals towards localization. It is going to be vital as time goes on.
Absolutely. Very good.
Tom, you got your hand up.
Yeah, in most forms submitted for the ecosystem, you get a feedback and email that you actually completed the form. For signing up for the CA, there doesn't seem to be any feedback loop. So you're not sure that you're actually signed up or if they've received it.
You will receive, it's an expression of interest form at the moment.
Correct.
And there will be an email out when the systems are ready. The community is currently finalizing with IOG the guidelines, plus whatever IOG is working on the side. So that should come out soon in an email. You can check your own status. I'll just quickly check because I can't. They've changed the interface recently. So if you click on your name in the top right-hand corner in Ideascale, it should have. So if you click on your icon and then your name, it then should have. Is that the edit button there? No. Profile, yeah. So just right there in the sidebar, it says profile details, and it says Fund 8 Community Advisor CA registration form, and then it will have your answer there with, and then it says, yeah, that's it there.
Thank you.
So you can check your status there, and I believe you can change your status there if you choose to pull out of being a CA or have said no previously and want to become a CA.
Okay, thank you.
Some other questions. Because one thing I think what was not really mentioned, because, well, Catalyst, it's all about Cardano, it's all about DLT blockchain. But in Catalyst, I think also it really aims to be a really, let's say, low barrier entry point into crypto without the need to understand too much about crypto. Because in Catalyst, you don't need to be a master of blockchain, but not to participate. And the Catalyst community advisors are not only reserved for tech people and whatnot. And I see the Catalyst community advisors as one of the most effective roads when it comes to onboarding people into our governance mechanism without the requirement that the people have a profound understanding or knowledge about DLT blockchain technology in general. But we see, for example, sometimes there have been some great discussions and to say, but wait, this can be an amazing good job, for example, for housewives, right? Who are sitting at home, for example, managing their work there, and who can get directly in touch with the Cardano governance in participating and getting really well rewarded for it as well. So very often I know we have a lot of dedicated folks here as well who try to bring people into the ecosystem. Say, yeah, look, you can do this and you can do that and that and that. And then the whole overwhelming effects take place. And your friend will ask, what the heck, where should I start? And a really good way is to say, start as community advisor. It's extreme low barrier entry point for anybody to participate in our governance model already. And I think it's a really effective first way to go.
I'd also add that if you have an inkling to be a proposer, it's also a good place to start because you get a good review of what people are doing in the system. Because you're reading a lot of proposals and you start to get a feel of what is a good proposal and what is a not so good proposal. On top of that, you also get networking opportunities because everyone's just participating. So if you like a project, you can contact them, and if you can add value, you can see how you can add value. Collaboration is the name of this game here. Ilya, you got your hand up.
Phil, I'm sorry, I didn't get how to check from Ideascale that I have submitted properly the application.
If you
Can you repeat that for me, please?
Certainly. If you go to Ideascale, in the top right, there should be your avatar.
Yeah.
Click on that and then your name.
And the name.
Yep. And then in the sidebar down there, it says profile details.
Yeah.
Should say your answers.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? So definitely stay connected through the Telegram and various other communications. That's probably the best way. Feel free to reach out on the Discord. I'm very active on there. Reach out to Felix or myself to ask questions, and there's plenty of active people around. And if you're interested and find an inkling to start heading towards doing Catalyst more, the CA is a good window into that world. A lot of us are full-time, not necessarily full-time paid equivalent, but a lot of us are full-time operating in this space.
Let's say we are full-time dedicated.
Yeah. So.
And Afia, you have your hands up.
Please, I want this issue to be clarified. If you are a proposer and you also want to be a community advisor, you can't assess where you put your proposals. That's right, isn't it?
That's absolutely right. Yeah. Let's say, for example, when we go on Ideascale and we see all the challenges, let's say, for example, I submit a proposal in cross-chain collaboration and new member onboarding means already, for me, all the proposals in this challenges as community advisor are taboo. Okay. I can't assess proposals there. But maybe I don't have a proposal in community advisor improvements, for example. And by the way, if you have some nice ideas for community advisors, like whatnot, there's a whole challenge for it, right? Catalyst community advisor improvements. But yeah, to come back to your point, Afia, yes. Let's say, for example, you are with water, you will probably be a proposer in the Grow Africa Grow Cardano challenge, means you are not allowed to assess any proposals there.
Okay, thank you. What about if you are part of the challenge team, the challenge category team member? if you are part of the member, can you access proposals in that team?
Yes.
In that.
Yes, you can, but only once again if you are not a proposer.
Okay.
You can be a challenge team member and a proposer in the same challenge. Absolutely no problem. But then you can't act as community advisor or veteran community advisor. This rule for the community advisors applies as well to the veteran community advisors.
Okay.
I would add there that it's subject to change. There are people, various people discussing the possible conflict of interest of the CT teams, but they're so new at the moment that we're letting them, I believe, run out a few funds to start understanding what the implications of the teams are.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then I think that's almost it.
Yes.
Then,
oh, no, James, last minute question.
I just have Felix. If you see your Discord, there is a. I would like to discuss with you. I think I can convince you for the proposal I made on Discord, and would be very. I would very like your answer on that.
okay, I will have I'm extremely short by time. I have so many projects.
I know, I know, I know, but I think I can convince you that this is really very important.
Okay. We'll have a look on it.
All right, thank you.
And James, you got your hand up there, mate.
Yeah. Just I mean, I'm guessing that to help with VCAs, we want to be as it's a bit of a we want to be as concise as possible. I mean, obviously we got to hit the criteria on the sort of rationales to try and do a good quality review, but we want to keep it as concise as possible because the VCAs have got quite a lot of work to do on the next stage.
Yeah, I think there's value in that.
One thing what you can see, for example, from previous funding rounds, it's usually when you look on your assessments in regard to character limits, and there isn't a limit. You can really write the hell out assessment, but what we see, there's really a trend between 300 to 400 characters for an assessment. You can really see, I think, Phil, I think 80% of all assessments fit into 300 to maximum 400 or 500 characters per assessment. So don't go into and say, "Oh, right, I will write a whole Roman now about this proposal."
Right. Write what you need to communicate what you need, I guess. And yeah.
Because the main idea as well is that voters can rely on the assessments as well, right? That they take the community advisors as a reference point to say, should I vote for or against this proposal? They might maybe check the assessments which are given. So when they can check the assessment and they see a 3,000 character letter, well, voters are, let's say, lazy. They don't want to read the whole stuff, right? They like a short consensus guidance which tells them, hey, okay, this proposal makes sense, is impactful, is feasible, is auditable, and the voter can make his decision in peace of soul. I can say, oh, okay, cool.
All right.
Then a last note, Catalyst School is like Catalyst Swarm and other projects, is a project which totally emerged from very committed and engaged community members to support the Catalyst process and projects in general. Our goal is to support everybody in the ecosystem. And if you like to support all of the Catalyst School proposals, we don't have any funds coming from VCs or external bodies. All of our success is built on funded proposals in Catalyst itself. So if you want to support the school, have a look for the school proposals and hopefully vote for it. And there's a stake pool as well for the Catalyst School with the ticker Learn, which is also built up now to say, hey, maybe we can have some more sustainable income for the people running the school on a full-time base. So happy for each support from you guys and support us in supporting you. So
thank you all for coming.
Definitely.
Have a great day and good luck with your assessments.
happy Fund 8.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for good education session.
You're
Thank
welcome.
And thanks everybody for taking the time and participating and building this ecosystem bottom up, right? Thanks a lot, everyone. Building the future, yeah. So Roki, if you're not hyped yet, I don't know, but you are hyped already. Okay.